All I got is missed calls on my line, yeah, never seen a pick up.
2, 3. Hello, everyone. Welcome into episode 145 of the Missed Call Podcast. It's your boy. He's back. Colby Marshall with Ryan Sartori. Don't call me Cub. I know you've been doing it quite often lately. It gives me a little tickle in my heart. But hey, Ryan, that ain't my name, brother.
But okay, so here's the thing. Is like, it's kind of like a childhood friend calling you by your childhood nickname, right? Like, I have a friend whose name is Christian, but as kids, we all called him Beans. Now, I refer to him as both. I refer to him as both. And it has nothing to do with his race. It just so happens that his nickname.
Tell the people what his race is.
Beans.
Then. Tell them what his race is.
Oh, Jesus. Christian is of Latin descent.
Yep, that's racist. Yep, canceled.
But I actually don't remember how we got the nickname. But that was his nickname, and it depends on where we're having the conversation and who's around. But I'll call him Beans or Christian the same way. I feel like it's fine if I call you Cub or Colby. Like, if you dropped a sauce here and there, I wouldn't be opposed to it because you knew me then. You call me that then, and that's fine, right? Like Tyler Witt, friend of the show, Thick Athlete Society president, Tyler Witt.
Tyler Athlete.
I mean, that's his middle name, Tyler Athlete Witt. Gave me these gloves over here. I let him call me Sauce. He'll do it all the time. That's fine by me.
If we're bringing up childhood stuff, I'm basically the blanket. You got to let me go sometimes, brother.
No. I keep you in like the chest. You know what I mean? Like there's like the little chest you keep all your little mementos in from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
That's where you're at. That's where your nickname is in that little chest of mementos. I pull it out and use it every once in a while.
Well, something that little me never thought he would do would be drinking coffee. I'm on coffee now, Ryan.
Yeah, you were saying this, and like,
I'm terrified.
I think that there's going to be a lot of people that when they hear this are going to be like, that dude isn't drinking coffee before?
So it used to be like a Saturday thing. I like the taste of coffee. I drink it black. I don't need anything else. I think it's gross if you add anything else to it. I used to call it the system cleaning morning. You know, like you clear the system out.
Yeah, it makes you regular.
Yeah,
you shit a lot.
Yeah,
it takes poops.
Let me tell you something, buddy.
Let me tell you something.
But the thing is, I don't drink it during the week because I have to take 2 trains to get to work, and I'm petrified.
Not pooping on the
that
train.
I won't make it to work. As a man who has shit himself since living in the city of Chicago, I can't let it happen again. And I have frequent scares without drinking the coffee, Ryan.
Yeah. No, I full-heartedly understand where you're coming from. Now, I think like there's a lot of people, like I said, that are going to be surprised you don't regularly drink coffee.
Or they're like, he does not need it.
But I don't think that people understand the psychology behind ADD and the use of caffeine, because in a way it almost is like, because we have similar levels of ADD, just they come in different forms. Do you feel when you have a high amount of caffeine in your system that your brain is almost quiet?
It's so tough.
It almost makes my brain feel like all the things that are all around all the time are then kind of like just in a solid space, and I'm able to like compartmentalize, and it's almost like the fucking Zach Galifianakis gif where all the numbers and shit start flying. That's what caffeine does for me. It almost kind of quells those ADD things or tings.
I don't know why I can't think of how I am when I'm on caffeine, because I just feel like it's normal. Like, you know how people say like, oh, how are you going to go to sleep after having that espresso martini at 8:30? I could just go right to bed. This is
caffeine doesn't have that hold on me anymore.
No, I like somebody asked me that the other day. I like randomly made myself one because I was feeling it. You know, I was feeling a little flirty with myself.
Yeah,
a little espresso martini.
Might touch myself later. Who knows?
Was doing it while I was shaking it. You know, shake yo thing.
Right.
Yeah, I like the taste of it. I have it every so often. I'm like worried. The thing is, I'm scared because I don't want to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to like need
Addicted?
it. You know how people,
Yeah.
not addicted. Like, hey, I need to have my coffee. I think that's where I hit my adulthood. I'm not there yet. I'm not a grown boy.
I can get through a day without it, but like I feel it. I feel the repercussions of not having had caffeine. Like I don't get the raging headaches or anything like that, but like my body almost has like a clock where it's like, okay, now it's time for it. Now it's time for it. Now it's time for it. And it's like crazy that caffeine isn't a regulated drug because it is just as addictive as a substance as anything else. But it's just you can get it at the convenience store.
My brother started drinking coffee at, I think, 6. Like he was so young. We would go out to breakfast every week, and the waitresses would be like, "Can he?" He'd be like, "I'll have coffee." They'll look at my dad. Can he? He's like, "Yeah." And then fills it up with sugar and milk, and essentially it's not really coffee. So then he had to stop drinking it at one point because he would get the shakes at like 14.
We are going to talk about sports at some point in this podcast, I promise. But so I'm curious if you are a staunch believer that coffee and espresso should only be had black, where do you stand on lattes?
I've never had a latte.
Really? Because to me, a latte is delicious. And for those who don't know the components of a latte, it's a shot of espresso and a bunch of whatever milk you choose. Maybe you throw in, you know, a little like a little caramel flavor or whatever in there. Some places make them better than others. Like if you go to a Dunkin', you're not getting like a real true latte.
Yeah, that's just
Dunkin'. But like typically a latte is one of my favorite go-tos. You get a shot of espresso. It's nice. It's light. It doesn't like weigh you down. A macchiato is the same way. Maybe I would urge you to try one on your own time.
I have the coffee maker to make those.
Do you?
I was gifted this for the people that think I thought he was broke. No, I am broke. This was a gift.
I'm broke too. I have all the money in the world that I have currently is in my hand. I think it's $7.
I was gonna say I have 17. So
yeah, hey, look at us. They're like these guys. Somebody recently commented on one of my posts. I was, you know, it was a grateful post. I was talking about how grateful I am to be in the positions that I am, you know, with radio, with Beloit College, with the podcast as well. And somebody responded to me and was like, "Dude, you're the kid from high school who made it." I regretfully informed that person that, like, no, I'm not.
Not even close.
I'm lucky and happy to be able to do the things that we do. Like this is something I've always wanted to do with my life.
Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this.
No. I will devoutly say not everybody can do what we do. That is, I can say that wholeheartedly with my chest.
But I'm saying they could pick up, go buy a mic, hit record.
That part definitely. But like doing it well, entertaining, bringing people in, like there is just some elements
of it
that
we do a fantastic job of.
Yeah, well, all 19 of our listeners. But in our other jobs too, right? Like not everybody in the world can do what we do. But I did tell them, I was like, "Hey man, I've got $7 and I live in a trailer that I rent." I was like, "No, I'm not." And that's just another really good example of like Instagram only shows you the good things in life.
I mean, I try to flex what I can. So transitioning to another thing that does make some people money and other people a lot of money. Gambling, a thing that I enjoy doing. You know this. DraftKings, one of my favorite apps to use to gamble on. It took a turd.
Did you remember?
Did you remember? They took Never Forget a little too far on 9/11. They put out, Ryan, a Never Forget parlay featuring the Mets money line, the Yankees money line, and the Jets money line. And I think the biggest I don't know. Like, outside of the obvious, their biggest mistake was not having the juice at plus 911. But, but who approved of this?
I don't know. Because
I thought it was fake. I thought it was fake.
A basic line in the sand is, with tragedy, it's always good to try to do something altruistic, right? Like the radio station I work for.
Hold on, time out. I'm dumb.
Altruistic?
I can't hit that. Yeah, I can't hit that and define it. Like
basically out of kindness, something good. Altruism is the
spell it. Spell it for the listeners. Spell it.
ALTRUISM. Altruism.
ATRU.
ALTRUISM. Altruism is the belief in or practice of disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others. So you put it's the act of being selfless, altruism, or the belief in being selfless. But so the radio station that I work for, we did like a blood drive, right? Like, hey, remember, all the first responders that went and needed blood transfusions, the people who were in the attack needed blood transfusions, right? That's fine. That's like actually doing something productive. What DraftKings did was say, hey, we're going to capitalize on 9/11. And like, not at a time where everybody who was a part of it or remembers it is gone or going, if that makes sense.
This isn't the World War II parlay.
Right. This is 9/11 that happened 22 years ago. And so they walked into it and said, how can we get involved?
How can I make money off this?
We need, to capitalize on American tragedy.
They came out the apology. Let me go find it.
Now, I kind of wonder if like maybe any of the proceeds from the parlay were then put towards charities or something. Like, did they put it towards some sort of like first responders foundation or some sort of like survivors foundation? I don't know. If that's the case, then great. Awesome. I'm happy you did that. But still capitalizing off of 9/11. Weird. What was the apology?
Sorry. We had a little technical difficulty. Let me go get it. The thing that I need to ask before I try and find this is, for those who were dumb enough to bet a promoted parlay, did they get their money back?
No.
Honestly,
the Mets lost that night. The Mets lost to the Diamondbacks.
No, but I'm saying, like, they took the promo down and apologized. Did people get their money back?
Oh, I don't know. Or was it like a collector's item, limited edition type thing?
Where the hell is this apology at? Obviously, it's Twitter. All right, 2 days ago.
Welcome to the live podcast with Colby and Ryan. Either way,
they came out with an apology. Yeah. It was I thought it was fake. A lot of people thought it was fake, but a guy in the office had it screenshotted before it went viral and was like, is this for real?
Yeah. And like a very good reminder for everybody, outside of gambling on 9/11,
everything.
Don't do boosted parlays. Don't do the parlays that the app that's designed to take your money is offering you, because they probably know something.
Do you know what the biggest pet peeve of mine is? Is when the app tells me, hey, so-and-so just scored a touchdown. Can the other team cover? Like, it'll suggest me a bet. It'll like give me a notification, and I'm not even on the app. And it'll be like, hey, 95% of people are betting Cubs money line in Illinois. That makes me want to bet the complete other side, because you want more people to bet on the wrong things. So you're like, hey, people are doing this. Guess what, people? If a lot of people are doing it, it's probably the wrong bet.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just standard betting. Again, get all tips like this and more with the Up Your Units podcast, hosted by Colby Marcio weekly. Catch that wherever you get your podcasts. Check out Colby's new solo venture. Now, I think the 9/11 parlay is probably a really good transition to Jets football, right?
No, I was actually going to take it a different way, Ryan. I was
Where
going to
we
say going another route of a lot of people in Illinois that lost a lot of bets. The Chicago Bears.
Oh, we can do the Bears.
Told you.
We can do the Bears.
Let's just get it over with. It's like a Band-Aid that needs to get ripped off.
Yeah, let's talk.
Let me just loosen the shoulders and let me just say, I told you so, Chicago.
Yeah.
I told you so.
Yeah.
Put your hopes down and put your jerseys in the closet. It's the same goddamn team that you've been watching since you started watching football. It's the same Chicago Bears that haven't done anything since 1985. I don't know what they've done for you to be like, oh my God, they're bad.
They went to a Super Bowl that one time and a couple NFC championships. And those are the things that like keep us hooked. You know what I mean? Keep us in there. There was a tweet that I'm now going to try to scramble and find.
The worst. That's the worst.
Yeah, I understand that. But give me just a second because it really puts. Yes. Okay, here it is. The tweet is from November 30th of 2021. A gentleman named Kevin says, picture this. Bears are playing the Packers at Lambeau Field. The Bears have dominated the entire game. Justin Fields runs in one last touchdown and turns to the stands and screams, I'm going to fucking own you for the next 10 years. I'm smiling right now. This is what Kevin, this random Twitter user, had to say. And this is exactly why Bears fans are such a tortured base group of fans, because they get their hopes up to these monumental highs. They look at a team that had 3 wins last year and lucked into 2 of them.
Yeah.
And saw some minimal improvements. Yes, it is an overhauled roster. They should be better. And by all means, they have all the opportunities this year to get better than their 3 wins last year. I think that's still within the realm of possibility. But the fact that any of us got worked up and hopeful that this team would do anything this year or any year is probably malfeasance on us. It's probably not what we should have been doing all along.
Now,
were we shocked? No. It's
I had Packers money line on purpose.
Yes, I think you were probably working against the public in that situation, because I think everybody was hammering Bears, right?
It was 50-50. I don't think every book I checked or I could check, it had its own different thing.
But Packers still had the plus money, but still marginal.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I wish we were doing this last year, because I heard the same nonsense last year, Ryan.
And for what? And for what reason last year? They had one of the least talented rosters in the NFL last year. And people were like, this is going to be great. They had not a single guy on their team that could separate well as a wide receiver. They had a great run game. That was awesome. Their offensive line was nowhere to be found. They had no pass rush. They had, after Roquan Smith was traded, nobody in the middle of the field. They still had a good young core in the secondary, and they still do this year, but there was no talent on that team last year. So the fact that anybody got worked up last year or this year is fucking nuts. And I will say that the biggest issue with that team, I don't necessarily think was the players in week 1, but it was wholeheartedly the coaching staff.
100%. I was about to lead with that. I was about to lead with that because I think it'd be wrong for me to just sit here and blame the fans and the players when Fields didn't even throw. What are those plays? You had one designed run to your mobile quarterback up the middle and it didn't work. And you have one actual pass and he throws an interception. Okay, one mistake. I'm not going to put that all on Justin Fields.
Probably an egregious mistake, but still, even Josh Allen does those in year 5.
Overrated team. It feels like Matt Nagy is still coaching this team. If everything feels so tiptoey and cute, so I don't understand it.
My takeaway from the game was that we've got another coaching staff for maybe the 4th time in a row, another coaching staff that is embarrassingly stubborn, right? Like Mark Trestman refused to switch things up. John Fox wasn't there long enough to really put any sort of anything on him. But Nagy and all of his offenses, so stubborn. And now it almost seems like, again, super small sample size. Take it with a grain of salt, but the NFL is a week-to-week league. Luke Getsy, where was any sort of adjustment at halftime? You literally heard in the broadcast, Erin Andrews talked to Matt LaFleur. She asked, what do you need to do in the second half? He said, we got to get Aaron Jones involved. What the fuck did they do? They got Aaron Jones involved. He had 2 touchdowns in the second half. He led all fantasy running backs.
They looked better in the second half.
They looked better in the second half, and the Bears looked the exact same. Alan Williams as a defensive coordinator, he stayed in zone the entire game. I don't know why you would do that when you have a young quarterback, and zones are typically the defenses that they throw best against. They were throwing short timing routes underneath, breaking through the little zones, and he was hitting people in stride. He had plenty of throws that sucked. He missed the timing. He underthrew people. Nobody capitalized on that on the defense. This defense does not create turnovers. And then on the other side of the ball, Justin Fields had an average depth of target of 4.1 yards, which is the lowest in his career. He had 2 passes over 20 yards, 3 passes over 20 yards. He went 1 for 3 in those passes with a touchdown and an interception. That doesn't tell us much.
DJ Moore involved and didn't even get the guy you went out and got involved. You traded the first overall pick for him.
There's so much wrong with the game plan. They had months.
I thought
not a week. They've got a week to get ready for Tampa Bay. They had fucking months to get ready for the Green Bay Packers, a team that they'll play twice this year, and they did nothing spectacular.
I did. Now hear me out. I know what I said about fans getting their hopes up. I thought this game I would be proven wrong. Like, I thought this week would be the one week they should up because they have months to prepare, and then everything crapshoot. Like,
right. Yeah.
I think if Matt Nagy was coaching, they would have been more prepared. Because remember how well he did in the first few drives because they scripted everything? And
Nagy was a great scripter. Nagy was a great scripter. But after that, everything was bad. Everything was very bad.
A thing that I saw on Twitter that day on Sunday, people were talking about how the prices for the games, they were like, oh, well, the McCaskey's got to be public enemy number 1 because these ticket prices are insane. And I couldn't understand if they were saying like these need to be cheaper, but it's not the McCaskey's fault if everybody goes to the game every single week.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I don't think Chicago sports fans in general really understand is that you can stop going. You can boycott a team. You're the
reason why they haven't changed. Not the whole reason. One of the main reasons. You go to the game, you buy the jerseys, you sell out everything because you love it so much. But guess what? What you love doesn't love you back.
I think that's a great statement.
You're in a toxic relationship with someone who doesn't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, I don't think the McCaskeys have a very concerted vision of winning aggressively. They're in a market that requires aggressive winning, but they refuse to do the aggressive things to win. We saw some change over the offseason with Ted Phillips going away and Kevin Warren coming in. And listen, I don't want to get too big-brained on the Bears. I do want to try to keep it on week 1 because I think that's what everybody's more concerned about here. There have been changes. I do like Ryan Poles. I like the direction that the roster is heading in, the team is heading in, and he's intelligent. And here's the thing that I've talked about time and time again about Ryan Poles. Even if his plan doesn't work, I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, Ryan Poles has a plan. Ryan Pace never had a plan. It was reactionary. Every time he made a move, it was purely reactionary. And none of it was ever for the long-term success of a team. What Ryan Poles is doing is trying to build something that has, number 1, sustainability, and number 2, a culture of winning. And if the plan doesn't work the way he has it set up to work, I'm okay with that because at least he had a plan doing it. That's something we don't normally get as Chicago fans. But from a coaching perspective, if your plan is to go into a game offensively, I think it was 41 passes for Justin Fields. Have 3 of them go beyond 20 yards when we know that his skill set is suited for down the field passing, and you just got him a number 1 receiver, and you targeted him twice, and you called 1 quarterback run. This is a dude
up the middle
and right up the middle
on fourth down. On fourth down. In that Cole Kmet play, the previous play before that, Matt Nagy. I saw that coming a mile away. It was so obvious. It might have been the most obvious trick play ever.
Very cutesy.
Developed.
You have a quarterback in the prime of his career, athletically, not in terms of skill, but athletically. Justin Fields is in the prime of his, let's say, his life. He's in the prime of his life. Last year, rushed for over 1,000 yards, was the 5th leading rusher in the NFL. Week 1 against a Packers team
that sucks against the run.
Sucks against the run and is transitioning in some areas of their defense. You called 1 run with your quarterback who has the ability to alter games with his feet. I'm not saying run 20 with Justin Fields, but on top of that, they only called like 4 bootlegs. If you're not throwing it down the field, Justin Fields excels on the run. It was coaching malpractice all the way around. Coaching malpractice.
Ryan,
they got out-coached.
We can sit here and talk about Justin Fields and the Bears, but I would just like to congratulate Jordan Love on his Hall of Fame jacket. Like, congratulations, you're a Hall of Famer.
Here's the thing about Jordan Love. Respect to the man, right? I don't think he played that well. I think
they made him look like a Hall of Famer.
I think the Bears played so poorly that they made this guy look like he is the next coming in line. The 3rd installment in the Favre Rodgers Love succession, right? I don't think he played that well. And that's better. Okay, because it was his first time starting.
You're right. And remember, Bears fans, like it was to me, it was poetry because I saw it coming a mile away. You say somebody is going to be bad and you have no data or anything behind it and just comes out and just rips your heart out. That's a huge game. That is a huge game. That is your number 1 rival, the biggest rivalry in football history. And also, I just want to say this. I texted one of my friends who is one of those psycho fans. Like, he's like, oh, I already bet them to win the over. I already $100, blah, blah, blah. I texted him the morning of, don't get hurt today.
Child.
Don't get hurt today. Don't get hurt.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
something that might be more sad.
Are we moving on? I was trying to think about any other nuggets.
No, you don't have anything else. There's nothing else.
I think this was the last thing I wanted to say.
Go ahead.
The second half may have been sadder than the first half in the Bear-Packer game.
I meant to say that earlier.
One dude trying in the entire second half. There was one guy that actually gave a shit, and his name is Roschon Johnson.
Oh, I was going to say the running back.
Roschon Johnson. The running back.
The Dreads guy.
No, that's Donta Foreman.
That dude was balling.
You're thinking of Roschon Johnson, I promise.
Really?
Yes, I promise. Roschon Johnson was the dude that like ran over a cornerback, scored the touchdown. That was Roschon.
All right, carry on.
That's what I'm just saying. Is that it was super sad to see. Like, fourth quarter comes around, you're technically still within reach if you try hard enough and switch some things up. Perhaps the only dude that was trying was your backup running back, and it showed, and that's upsetting. Sadder than the Bears losing.
I think I was going to change up my wording. I think like getting cheated out of something. This is sad. Aaron Rodgers getting hurt on Monday, honestly, I think ruined the whole football season.
Yeah, because it was a major storyline, right? Like everybody was looking to see what would happen with AR8, but AR12, Aaron Rodgers. Everybody was curious to see about the progression of Garrett Wilson and if this team was actually qualified for all the hype and the Super Bowl, hype, I guess is the word that I'll use, that they were drawing. And now that's all kind of taken away in the blink of an eye and the snap of an Achilles tendon, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, everyone who's a Bears fan gets mad at me. Excuse me. I love watching Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if you say I'm a fake Bears fan. I think he is must-watch TV every time he steps on the field. He is one of the greatest football players to ever strap him up. He is unbelievable. And if you think otherwise, it's because you don't like his personality and off the field stuff, and get over yourself. It's not that big of a deal, as if you like everybody. Who cares?
I hate his off the field shit too. I think he's a very much look at me person, but I'm okay with separating the art from the artist. He is a phenomenal football player, will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, will be somebody that we remember in the echoes of NFL history. Years and years and years from now, he'll be somebody we tell our grandkids about. You know what I mean? Like, he is a forever memorable player. I felt sad when he was injured. I felt genuine sadness for him. I was upset about it because I was excited to see what he would do this year. Now, Bears fans will look at you and go, what the hell? And I invite you types of Bears fans to just be a football fan. It's okay to hate the dude that plays against you 2 times a year, the 2 times a year that he's playing against you. But other than that, the dude does some tremendous things with a football that just make it a little bit too hard to absolutely hate his guts on a football field. When he's playing against the Bears, the 2 times a year that they do, or the 3 if they happen to meet in a playoff game, that's different.
God forbid.
That's different. You write the Packers off and any sort of successes they've had because they suck. They're the Packers. I don't like them. But Aaron Rodgers, that's that dude.
Him.
Mama, that's a bad man.
Mama, there goes that man.
That's him.
I think, obviously, we could sit and talk about the Jets and how they won, and it was awesome. Their defense is sick, but it ruins the whole football season.
I don't know that it takes away from the entire football season, but it definitely prunes an entire storyline. Oh yeah, it prunes an entire storyline from the season. It's gone. It's not going to happen. It might not ever happen. Aaron Rodgers is already saying
40-something seconds.
40 seconds, 4 plays, and a lot of people are blaming it on the turf at MetLife. We might never see Aaron Rodgers play the game of football again.
Can they seriously fix that turf? Get rid of that.
So the NFLPA is now coming around and saying, like, hey, we are almost going to require turf. There's been so many people that have
grass? You mean grass?
Yeah, require grass. There have been so many people who have been majorly injured at MetLife Field or MetLife Stadium or whatever they're calling it in New Jersey. And at this point, it just seems like ignorance. It just seems like neglect that they're like, I think the World Cup is set to come to America in 2026.
Yep.
And they are changing MetLife. They've already announced that they are turning MetLife to grass for the World Cup, and it'll go back to turf.
Oh my God.
Afterwards. So if you can get it done for FIFA, why not get it done for the NFL and the players? Because realistically, this is the highest earning league in the world. Guys like Aaron Rodgers and the storylines that he would have had this year matter way more than the extra $1 or $2 million that you'll have in your pocket because you've got turf and not grass.
I don't understand how the PA has allowed it to go this long. How many guys? It's been a significant amount of athletes in star athletes. It's not just like, oh, okay, I get it. It's just this guy who was on the practice squad last week got injured, blah blah blah, which is still bad. These are people who put the asses in the seats.
I want to look up Injuries MetLife has caused because
think it's Saquon, right? Saquon, Alex Smith.
It claimed some knees and stuff over the past couple of years. It's not just Aaron Rodgers. I think you're right.
I think it's Saquon, Alex Smith, Chase Young.
Yeah, I think you're right with Chase Young.
It's all guys that it's like, oh, okay, we were cheated out of seeing how well he was going to perform this year. I can't believe there's not an article.
Yeah, I'm looking for it, and this is not great podcasting.
No, you're good.
But yeah, we've lost some pretty significant seasons because of the field, like to the point where it's become a storyline. And if like a storyline, it's the same concept of like if you know the name of an umpire, or you know the name of an offensive lineman, or you know the name of a relief pitcher, it's probably not for a good reason. You probably don't know Angel Hernandez's name as an MLB umpire because he's great at his job. You don't know Joe West because he was phenomenal at what he did, right? You knew them because they were always questionable callers of baseball games, and they were always points of contention. There shouldn't be a storyline about MetLife Field.
No.
Period. There should not be a storyline about it, but there is. And the injuries that it's claimed, I'm giving it one final look, and then I'm going to give up on it because I think I may have found something. I did not, but you get the picture. Yeah, that's the craziest thing is that the owners of the field, I don't know who exactly owns it because it's a split stadium.
Yeah.
Are just like,
that makes it even more wild to me. 2 teams play on it. It's being utilized every single week when football's in.
I do want to mention too, it was a pretty chilling moment the night of 9/11, the anthem, the crowd at full throat, Aaron Rodgers running out of the tunnel for the first time as a Jet with an American flag in his hands. Like,
and he's anti 9/11.
That whole thing, that whole moment in time, so cool. Like, I was a captive audience. I recognize when like cool things are happening, I'll put everything down and I just want to take it in. And that was one of those moments. Super cool.
Also, Aaron Rodgers thinks the government did 9/11. Kind of cool.
Is that confirmed?
I believe the Aaron Rodgers haters have said that.
Which
also not to go on a tangent, conspiracy theories, cool. They're cool.
I like conspiracy theories.
Like, I don't see how that's a
What's
problem.
your favorite?
Like, Anne Frank wasn't a real or not Anne Frank. Sorry, not
Helen Keller.
Helen Keller wasn't a person. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I like that as an answer. I think I also like oh my God, what is the effect that they say, like, you know, you put like 2 logos next to one another?
Oh, the Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect. Like, that's a fun one too. That one.
Like the Berenstein Bears thing? No.
Yes. The Fruit of the Loom logo.
Cornucopia.
Right. Every time there's been a cornucopia. That one, and then the simulation hypothesis is always interesting to me too.
No, Ryan, I forgot where I was, but I had a big simulation moment one time with a friend. Like, this dude came out of this woman was walking on the sidewalk and then like went into like the field, like where there's multiple baseball stadiums, you know, like, you know, like a park district type thing.
Sure.
And I shit you not, we turned and talked to each other for a second after we were like noticing this weirdo. That person vanished, Ryan, in the middle of a field. Simulation. It was such a simulation.
Maybe there's this like a layer. she was like
vanished
and like fell into like a bat cave or some shit like that. I don't know.
It was one of those things where I think I talked about it the whole day with that friend.
That's hilarious.
Vanished.
We have an entire slate of NFL football to kind of like meander our way through. We can kind of pick and choose what we want to do. I don't think we got to talk about every game.
What's just your biggest takeaway?
I want to talk about the most disrespectful thing I saw on a football field this week.
Go for it.
Dude, Myles Garrett, pre-snap, like going one way, going another way, going one way, and then just blowing past the center for a sack?
Yeah, that was cool.
That's cool. Disrespectful as hell.
He's such a badass player.
Pre-snap, Joe Burrow's reading shit over. Left cross, right cross, left cross, and then right past the fucking center for a sack. That was the most
He knew it wasn't Joe's day.
Thing.
He knew it
Holy
wasn't Joe's
hell. Day. That, and I also think that Byron Murphy Jr. caught a pretty significant stiff arm from Baker Mayfield in the Bucs win over the Vikings.
You know me, love Baker. That man has the biggest freaking chip on his shoulder that I have ever seen anybody have. You can doubt this man. He's the Undertaker. Oh my God, he's back.
He is probably the scrappiest player in the NFL. Like, he refuses to go away. But Byron Murphy Jr. gets the stiff arm. Baker Mayfield says, "Get your weight up. Get your weight up."
So
Byron Murphy Jr. missed the perfect opportunity at the easiest comeback ever. Get your height up. Baker Mayfield's only 6'1" as a quarterback. Get your height up. There's no coming back from that. Also, the most uncomebackable comeback ever. Calling somebody a nerd or like a loser. Get out of here, loser. What are you going to say? I'm not a loser. You just sound like a loser trying to come back from it.
Nerd.
Yeah. Best game of the week. Easy. Dolphins Chargers.
Yeah. I didn't really watch much, but dude, Tyreek.
Tua throws for 466, 3 touchdowns. Tyreek, 215 yards, is on pace right now for over 3,000 receiving yards.
Now,
and 36 touchdowns, 34 touchdowns.
Obviously, you take out that game. To you, was week 1 kind of dull?
Yeah, but that's week 1.
I was turning the TV off a lot. I was like going to do stuff during the Bears game. I was like, I'm going to start cleaning the apartment.
But that's week 1. It's a lot of teams trying to get into the flow of a season. Yeah. Defenses are going to reign supreme because the offenses don't feel super confident about what they're doing yet. You ease into it. By week 4, we're all going to be hooked like it's a fucking drug.
But you know what's never dull?
What's that?
College football.
Can I hold on before we move to college football? I had one more thing that I really wanted to get to. The Commanders played in their first game of the non-Dan Snyder era. New ownership. People care. People are worried about it. Landover, Maryland, turns out, is a really great football city. The Washington Commander fans show up and show out when good things are presented to them. They'll be there. They were in a situation where they were losing to what is one of the worst football teams ever assembled in the Arizona Cardinals this year. And the fans were at full throat. It sounded deafening. Adam Amin, who broadcast the game for Fox, posted something on his story. Adam Amin is a GOAT. Adam Amin is a personal hero of mine. I love his work. Anyway, he posts this video. The Commanders are trying to get a third down stop against the Cardinals. They're losing to this team. They should not have been losing to this team. But the fans are deafening. You can barely hear Amin, and you know his producer behind the scenes, his audio engineer, is really messing with those levels, trying to make sure that the balance is there for the fans to be heard and Amin to be there. And I listened to that, and my first thought was, this is what Bears fans would be like if you gave them any sort of team. If you gave them any semblance of hope. This is what the city of Chicago would do every single Sunday. If you gave them anything that looked like sustained success and looked like something to believe in, this is what the Bears organization would be like, but better and bigger and in Chicago and not Landover, Maryland.
To your point, It honestly terrifies me if that team is ever winning a Super Bowl and I live in the city.
Oh, they'll burn it to the ground.
I don't think I think I'd be standing on the roof.
Yeah. If the Bears ever win a Super Bowl, prayers up for the city.
See ya.
We could do so much NFL talk. I could ask you who your favorite rookie was this week, Anthony Richardson. But
oh my God, Anthony Richardson, please protect yourself, please.
Oh my God, that last hit he took, I was like, kid, did you not? Your player comp is Cam Newton. Have you not watched his career?
Did you see Trevor Lawrence yell at him? Not yell. He was just like, "Hey, protect
Get
yourself.
down, dude."
He's so fucking big. 3 guys had to take him down.
I know.
He's huge.
He is Cam Newton sized. He is gigantic. Cowboys 40-point shutout. Incredible.
Overrated.
I don't think they're going to be great. I think they're going to make the playoffs and do Cowboy things.
Overrated game, Ryan. Overrated game. I had Giants to cover. I felt embarrassed. But as soon as those 2 fluke plays happened in the first quarter, it's over. Like, you're not going to come back from that. Momentum is gone. You're not coming back.
Kneecap of the week award goes to the Lions for picking up a week 1 win.
Low-hanging fruit, but I respect it. Low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit.
Okay, college football.
All right. Colorado. Another good win for them. I had Nebraska because Public is not my middle name.
Yeah. Interesting.
But it's also, I want to talk about something.
Yeah. Shoot.
So with my show that I do at Stadium that airs, we got flack for taking Nebraska and saying like we didn't think Colorado could get it done. And I think somebody made it like we were being like racial. Like there's no racial for taking Nebraska. Like I just want to say I love Coach Prime. I love him as a player, more as a coach more than I do as a player.
Right hand up. Left hand on the Bible.
I'm not racist.
It's almost what you have to do anymore.
I just want to talk about it because I think it's wild to just make that assumption when I am a true college football diehard. I just believe it's tough to judge a team in an era where you're getting transfers, you're getting NIL deals, and a coach who is also new, big name, a lot of attention, and you're going to a school that won 1 game. Sure, they're doing fantastic things at the moment, but it isn't going to last. Hear me out. This season, Pac-12 is too good. I love this storyline, and just because I bet against something doesn't mean I'm not here for it. Also, congrats on your wins, Colorado public bettors. You got it done. You proved me wrong. Congrats. That's it. That's all I got.
As it stands right now, Colorado has 6 ranked opponents that they have to play through the rest of the year. They get their first
test. USC.
Yeah, that comes up at the end of this month. Again, this is our weekly talk about the Colorado schedule. But right now, listen, let's live right now. Right now, Colorado is very, very fun. The same way that the Sun Belt was super fun at the beginning of last season when you had App State taking down, was it North Carolina, when you had another big victory for Troy over Notre Dame, I want to say was another big one. Either way, the early season storylines are always so much fun. I think that it's okay to, in a football sense, believe in Colorado, root for them, root for their success, and hope that Coach Prime and Shadur Sanders and all the guys have a great year. As a bettor, protecting your money, I think that it's also okay to go against that. That's fine. At the end of the day, you're hedging your emotion. And I don't think that's something people realize enough, is you can root really hard one way for a team. You did it this weekend, Cub. You love the Bears.
I bet the Packers.
You bet on the Packers.
I bet Jordan Love to have 2 touchdowns.
Because you're a dude protecting your money in the betting sphere. It's not racial.
I bet the Yankees were going to get swept last year.
It's not racial.
There's nothing racial.
It's not rooting against
for me.
Colorado.
I'll say this, it is not racial for me.
Right.
For me.
Right. And I would assume I've never met the other guys on your show, but I would assume not for the other guys on your show either, or else they probably wouldn't have a job in media. Right.
Those guys wouldn't hurt a fly.
But Colorado right now, in a football sense, is very fun. I want to see how far this thing goes. I want to see how good this team can get. I want to see how tough they can hang with the Oregons and the USCs and those, that echelon of teams in the world, because by all means, Nebraska is not good. Colorado State, who they play this week, is not good. But again, 6 ranked opponents throughout the rest of the year, including Utah, including USC, including Oregon, and Oregon State, who has had some success this year as well.
Oregon State looks good.
We'll see. And everybody wants to judge things with instant gratification, right? Like, we just did a 15-minute segment talking about how abysmally bad the Bears are. It's kind of the way media works, but it's one game, right? Yeah. Everybody wants to judge it right now. It's entirely possible that this team finishes the year 2-10. It's within the realm of possibilities.
Did you watch the Nebraska game? The Colorado-Nebraska?
I did not, no.
Jeff Sims might be the worst quarterback in college football. But also, the jerseys, Ryan, gold and black. Oh,
pretty cool.
Give me a little flame emoji.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah. That goes a long way. Look good, feel good, play good. We've heard it before. Texas, are they back?
If it's going to happen, it's going to be in the coming. It's coming. It is not a yes. It is not a no. It's coming. This Texas team was good last year before Quinn Ewers got injured. Quinn Ewers goes into Tuscaloosa. I don't think Nick Saban has his fastball anymore. The NIL stuff's killing him.
Yeah, well, it's killed.
Transfer
Clemson.
Portal's killing him.
Streets killed me. Clemson's dead.
Timeout. That is the greatest video ever created.
I say that shit all the time. Nobody gets it. I'm like, Streets killed me.
That is the greatest video ever.
The Dan Le Batard show is something that I frequent as a means to take in media, take in, the sports world. I think that they do a great job of balancing seriousness with fun lightheartedness, and you get a lot out of the show. Dan Le Batard made a great point when talking about the Texas-Alabama game earlier this week in saying that there's no way that Nick Saban just gets to ride off and lose quietly, right? Like this dude who's built an empire, there's no way that he just very quietly gets to go, and now we lose. Right? We got to throttle this guy. Anytime Alabama's lost over the past decade, it has been the most incredible thing. Oh my God, the Iron Bowl, LSU knocking off Alabama. Like, this is the emperor. This is the guy, the alpha, the god of college football is Alabama. They lost to Texas. They almost lost to Texas 2 years in a row. They lost to Texas at home. There's no way that Nick Saban just gets to, we're out. We got beat. There's no way you get to lose like this. It doesn't, there's something that doesn't feel good about it, right? Like when Alabama loses, I think there's a Twitter site out there that talks about like the happiness meter when Alabama loses. They even said like, this one doesn't feel the same. How do we let this happen?
It's like I saw it coming. One of the guys on the stadium show that I mentioned, he picked Bama, and he said that he picked Bama to cover the spread. He said he likes this team because Nick Saban seems happy with this team. And I said, as a rebuttal, I was like, a man like Nick Saban being happy about a team troubles me, because when has he ever been happy with his best teams he's ever assembled? The answer is never. Yeah. Because a man like that knows the potential of his teams, and if he's content, something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty damning too when College Game Day rolls through your city and Lee Corso picks the other team. Like Lee Corso is the biggest homer, biggest like panderer to the crowd in front of him ever. They took App State last year in a weird game that like App State had no business in. He threw the head on out there and everybody freaked out. He put Bevo's head on. Ian Tuscaloosa.
Not to change subjects. When is he going to retire?
I hope never.
Oh,
Coach comes out of hibernation once a year for 12 weeks. It's so cute to watch Kirk Herbstreit. Like he's like his handler almost, right? Like they've sat together at the end of that desk for the better part of what, 15 years on that show?
It feels like 100.
And Kirk has watched him age, and we know that Coach Corso isn't,
he's
in the same spot. I know.
88.
And he spent a lot of last year sick and only making so many appearances, and they're trying to transition Pat McAfee into the Coach Corso role, and I think it's going to work well. But for the time that they have him, just let Coach come out and do a 3-hour show once a week for 12 weeks, right? Like until Coach says I'm done, just let him keep coming out because it's great fun to watch him. To watch an 88-year-old man with very little self-awareness at this point in his life just work his way through this show, and Kirk Herbstreit the entire time, like, what are you going to say? It's like an aged dad. Obviously, Kirk is like, I think he's probably got to be in his 50s, right?
Yeah.
He's watching his elderly father, like, hit on a woman at a gas station or something. He just the whole time is like, in this like anticipatory, happy yet anxious manner, just watching Corso go through the show. It's such good TV if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's just it's like if I wanted this, I would just go call my grandpa who's the same age.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, he shouldn't be working either.
But God damn it, keep Coach Corso on that damn show, or I'm going to stop watching College Game Day.
Is
the best show on TV.
I agree. It's fall has officially come when College Game Day is on at 9:00 for me.
When you hear that, you're like, yes.
No, when I see the signs, when I see like Lane Kiffin loves wet socks, I'm like, yes,
dude. If there's one thing both of us know, college kids are brutal.
In the most polite way because it's for TV. TV.
Yeah.
Now, before we get too far with this, does it feel weird with this Pat McAfee getting pushed into everything with his tank tops? Like I like.
No, it's
Pat.
his brand. It's his brand.
I don't know what I don't like about him, but I like him. I know I like him, but I just don't understand. He's getting forced into me liking him more. And I don't like
ESPN as an organization has decided that he is their guy. He is the person that they are going to put a whole lot of trust in and a whole lot of faith and investment in. They are now airing the Pat McAfee show on ESPN with a delay so that anytime they swear or say something off color, they can bleep it, which is something ESPN I don't think ever saw themselves doing. They tried an iteration of that years ago with the Pardon My Take podcast. They tried to make that into a TV show. Barstool Van Talk. It was a little too edgy for them. It was done after one episode?
Yep.
And now Pat McAfee has his YouTube show that isn't regulated by the FCC on an FCC regulated channel. That is new. It's a risk, and it's kind of cool. ESPN is just telling you, they're showing you, if you know what's going on and you understand like the PR side of things and whatever, they're pushing him. They have a plan for him. They are, it's a steady drip. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's far. And we're so past that. They've been lost. But this is their chance to get back on pace. Pat McAfee is a good guy to get invested in, I think. I like Pat McAfee a lot. I like what he does. I like that he, on College Game Day, gives an opportunity to highlight the school, right? So many hundreds and sometimes thousands of people show up. You saw the moment on Twitter where he got up on the chair and he's getting everybody to do the whoa, and he's just that guy. He's the energy guy. He's not your buttoned up broadcaster. He's just a you and me. You know what I mean?
I'm more of a RG3 rip my pants jumping in the water kind of guy.
RG3, if he's not 1, he's 1A. Like him and McAfee have the world on lock. RG3 is going to make himself a lot of money in his life.
Yeah. College football, man. The culture is awesome.
The culture is awesome. I've got one more thing.
Go ahead.
Curious if you want me to bring it up because we're at an hour.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And you've got a pickleball appointment in a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
You itching?
I'm itching. All
right. I'm going to try to work through this in a fairly quick matter while also touching on some of the important things. You said it. College football, the culture is awesome. Sometimes
it's not.
It's not. That's the easiest way to put it. Sometimes universities protect their college football programs far too much. And you ask yourself why, and it's because money. Michigan State University is in yet another scandal in their athletics department, this time with the head coach of their football program, Mel Tucker, who you might remember as the head coach of Colorado in previous years. You also might remember him as the defensive coordinator under the tutelage of Mark Trestman, who we mentioned earlier in this podcast. Mel Tucker is now being suspended by Michigan State University a year after signing a massive $90 million extension after 1 year of relevance at the top of the college football world, where they were ranked as high as 5 before being knocked off by the Purdue Boilermakers. He's being suspended for without consent, masturbating on the phone with a woman whom the university and the athletic department hired to help prevent sexual violence on the campus. Brenda Tucker is a national sexual violence prevention advocate. And while on the phone with Mel Tucker, was unaware that he was masturbating, never consented to it. Tucker, when faced with the situation as it came out, had to say that it was consensual. It wasn't. How could it be? And Michigan State moves to first fire him, and then they walk it back a bit and say, actually, we're just suspending him because we realized, and this isn't official, this is just connecting the dots, but we realized if we fire him, we still owe him the $90 million that no other state official in the state of Michigan makes outside of Jim Harbaugh downstate. We don't want to pay $90 million to a dude who beats off on the phone. So now there's an investigation. All of these are allegations. But I mean, like, this is the school who years ago had the Larry Nassar scandal. And if you don't remember that piece of shit, who was just beautifully killed, I think he was killed in jail. He should have been if he wasn't. This is the guy who
Jesus Christ
molested hundreds of young women who would come to Michigan State for gymnastics camps and things. The Fab Five who competed in gymnastics.
No, Larry Nancer's still alive.
Did he make it through? But he was stabbed in jail.
That's true. Survived.
But this was the guy who unrightfully and disgustingly impacted the lives of those like Allie Reisman, who was on the Olympic gymnastics team in 2012.
I know a girl that was affected
was in
by
the
Larry
situation.
Nassar.
This is the same school, Cub.
He did it. He said it. I knew it was coming. How
do you let this happen?
I mean, I honestly didn't know the story until you brought it up before we started, and I'm in awe. I'm speechless. Because it's crazy to me how schools and organizations that have problems continue to have problems, if that makes sense. Like, usually if there's one thing, they try to get rid of it, and then there's always something else afterwards.
Imagine, and it's a terrible thing to imagine. Penn State had the issue with Jerry Sandusky under the Joe Paterno, situation. That was the fallout for Paterno. Imagine if something similar happened at Penn State.
It's wild.
Now change the colors and move it north a bit, and surprise, it's actually Penn State. Excuse me, Michigan State. Like you imagined it, and oh wait, it's real. Yeah. Oh wait, it's happening.
It's just
disgusting.
Sad.
It's disgusting. Is what Mel Tucker did as severe as what Larry Nassar did?
No.
In a morality situation, probably not. But at the end of the day,
still disgusting.
A woman's life is affected. It's still disgusting. And how do people go without checks and balances in these positions? You are a state employee, or you are one, if you're not one, you're two in the highest paid employees in the state of Michigan.
Yeah.
How is nobody checking up on you? I guess that's just the way kind of America works, right? Our highest earners in America, nobody has to ever check up on. But you would figure a man who is in charge of molding the lives of young men, hundreds of young men who come through his program, there would be some sort of checks on the character of that guy.
Who's monitoring the one that monitors everyone?
If it's the AD, then he's just as much at fault for something like this 100%. To happen. Dude, it's just nuts. And I don't know that I'm too worked up about it. I'm just tired of seeing stuff like this happen. People this didn't happen to a student, thank God. But people send their kids away to college with the hopes that the adults that they send them to will treat them with as much respect as the parents treat their kids with. And then some. They hope that these adults are able to teach them, lead them, mold them into better humans. This dude is masturbating on the phone unconsensually with somebody.
How did they find out that? That's what I'm curious to know. How they?
I'm not 100% sure on the findings of that. Brenda Tucker didn't want to be named in the investigation. Eventually, there was a whistleblower. Her name was pulled out in an investigation. She made some comments. It's a really, really upsetting situation. And I hope that it's dealt with correct haste, right? Like not hastily, but, with some expedition, with some
not a slap on the wrist, like
enthusiasm.
Hey, this isn't. Yeah.
And
we actually are going to take charge on this and actually implement some things that this won't ever happen again.
And there has to be a thorough cleaning through of the athletic department in order to take any sort of stink out, because immediately anybody with a sports brain, anybody with a brain period is going to be able to connect the two dots and say something's wrong there. I'm not sending my kid there anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I got. Kind of a down note to end the podcast on, but
it's got to be so.
We will continue to monitor that and we will ready ourselves for episode 146. I think we murdered this shit.
I mean, I'll tell you what, we murdered that right there.
I think we had a great episode. This felt like Missed Call Podcast back in the day, Missed Call Podcast.
Especially that beginning, but I just would like to say that you killed that last 10 minutes on Mel Tucker.
You.
Of course.
Thank you.
Obviously, what else was I going to say when you're telling everything? I'm still in awe that this is a thing, so I would just like to point that out.
And it's important to remember, like, there are allegations, right?
100%. Like, there's allegations we haven't even covered because they're so wild.
In the court of public opinion, Mel Tucker's gonna be mired from this, and in the court of actual courts, he could be mired as well. For right now, what we know And what usually is true from these original reports and such, what usually is true is that this guy is a scumbag. Scumbaggery. So anyway, let's move away from it. Let's wrap it up. Great episode. Week 2 football coming up. Who you got this Thursday night? Eagles, Vikings? What do you got?
Oh, Ryan.
The Vikings bounce back. The Eagles looked weird in the second half.
Give me the Vikings. I'll take it.
Money line?
I think if the spread goes back up, I'll take it. I don't know. I don't like the game. It's for gambling purposes.
I like the Eagles in this one. We'll see. Maybe we'll start keeping track of it like the pregame shows do on Fox or whatever. And at the end of the year, maybe somebody has to pay up. So yeah, we're picking them. We're picking them. All right, that's it. Cub, wrap it up.
All I got is missed calls on my line. Yeah, never seen a pick up.